So, at the like the ceremony at the very end, like at basic training and AIT, it was kind of like a how would you explain it?
Is it like a sad but happy feeling?
I guess something like that.
Yeah.
It's kind of like I went through all of that, and now I can say that I can wear this as a soldier and not a trainee. It's like it's a different feeling, and it just kind of feels like makes you feel like special in a way, like just a little bit. Like I'm slightly cooler than the average person, you know. Yeah.
Yeah, I know you.
Nice.
I know you were looking to you wanted to get the uniform on when you came back from training, and he's pretty excited. We're setting up something with Halldale High School where he'll be able to go in where he graduated and do a lunch visit in uniform and be able to say hi to his friends, and they'll be able to see him with his uniform on, and it's just an exciting thing for him. I think I've seen a lot of pride with you, wearing your uniform and being able to say that you're part of something much bigger than you were before. So,
I think to kind of rephrase and to caveat is, have you noticed a difference in yourself and how you carry yourself from before you went through all of that to now?
Yeah, definitely. Before I came in, I still am a little bit now. I was extremely introverted. Like, I would like not talk to people. But like now, I'm still a little introverted, but I now have like the capabilities of like, if I meet someone new, I'm able to talk to them like a little bit more, like, be able to open up quicker and faster than I used to. Like a lot more confidence with like when it comes to social interactions and stuff like that. But when it comes to like just things being hard, like let's say I'm doing like something hard, and like back in the day I would be like, oh, I don't want to do this, I'll just go find someone else to do. But now I'll be like, yeah, I could probably do this fairly quickly and stuff like that. But it might be a little challenging, but that's the fun in it and stuff like that. Like I look forward to doing it and stuff like that rather than something that I have to do.
Yeah. Before he went to training, he was definitely, like he's saying, a little more introverted. He had some friends, but not a lot that would come over to the house. So this kind of brought him out of his shell for sure. I've definitely noticed a difference with, with him talking to other people, talking about the Guard, talking about his experience at basic training and job training. It's pretty amazing to watch your son or daughter go away to training as one person, and then they come back. They're not an entirely different person, but they have the positive parts of being away from home and learning, discipline and respect and hard work, really. And another thing that I'm noticing in going into schools is, kids are so used to being on their phones, and that's like where they live. They're on their phones, and this gives them an opportunity to break away from that lifestyle. And a lot of it, with COVID too, being stuck at home, this has given him an opportunity to leave that for a while and just take a break from the redundance of doing the same things every day. And he's definitely changed and become a stronger individual.
Could you, Audette, speak a little bit more about, how you were introverted before and what that was like, and then specifically how, maybe a story, the Army helped you transition to be a little more outgoing and confident person?
Yeah, so before I, went to basic training and AIT and stuff like that, just talking to people like outside, like my people that I know, was like really hard for me to do because I wasn't really one to like socialize or like talk to people because I would always be like very, very quiet, like mumbling words and stuff like that because that's just who I was back in the day. Like I was just really hard to talk to. But once I went to basic training in AIT, there was a bunch of super extroverted guys, you know, like gung-ho, ready to meet and talk to people. Like, even though they were doing push-ups, they'd still be laughing and stuff like that. And I kind of like, one guy in particular I remember, his name was Oliver. Oliver, and I actually have his contact number because he's a really nice guy. He like, when he would be talking to drill sergeants, he'd try and like crack jokes at them with stuff and try and get them to laugh a little bit, which, you know, it's hard to do. It's kind of a risky thing to do sometimes, but like, he'd always like try and crack jokes and stuff like that and like make people laugh and like, so one time he was like one of the stronger guys, right? And like, so one day he walks up to me, he's like, and he said, because he's from Alabama, so he's from lower Alabama, so he has like the deep Southern accent. He walks up and he's like, Audette, come arm wrestle me real quick. Because we were doing like arm wrestling matches in the base and stuff. And I was like, no, I think I'm fine. He was like, oh no, come on. And he edged me on, and I went up there, and he was like, all right. So everyone come watch. and pretty much everyone in the bay came over to watch us. And surprisingly, I won the arm wrestling match. And
Surprisingly.
I was like, whoa. and he was like, man, you've been the only man in here so far who was able to beat me. And I was like, what the heck? Like that made, and you know, that made me feel good and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And because like, it like kind of maybe, you know,
Boost your confidence.
Boost my confidence, something like that. Like, he was always the guy who would always make sure like everyone was okay. Like, he would always like come walking over, like say, hey, you okay, buddy? You okay? I know it can be tough sometimes, like stuff like that. He was always like trying to make sure everyone was all right. He was like the guy everyone knew and stuff like that. Like, you can go and talk to if you felt like you know, sad or something like that. You could always go talk to him. Like, he was always like an open person, and like that kind of he kind of made me want to be like him a little bit, because like he would always be like this outgoing guy who would always like kind of like push the drill sergeants a little bit, but also like make them laugh. And so like, he actually was one of the people at the very end. So at the very end of basic training, like, the drill sergeants will like ask you to like come up and like do impressions of people at the company, including drill sergeants. And he immediately got up and said, "Where's Audette? Get Audette up there," because I had a really good voice of our captain. and the entire company knew at this point that I had a really good voice of our captain, and like everyone was like cheering me on, like, go up there. And you know, I went up there, and I started doing my impression, and everyone just went crazy, laughing and like smiling and stuff like that. So, you know, like, it kind of helped me like break out and like be a little more like extroverted, I would say, like a little more like ecstatic, like excited, like trying to do stuff like that. So like, he was one of like the bigger helpers, and like trying to like get me more out there myself and stuff like that.
You definitely meet a lot of different people with different characters from all across the nation. So you kind of build off from their character and kind of add it to your character a little bit. So when you come out, when you graduate and you come home, those are those little bit of changes that you see in your soldier when they come back. So
Do the impression.
And then tag your friends.
No. Okay.
Do it.
So the captain, he had like a raspy voice, right? So, and like, he'd always come out and he'd go, "Hey, what's going on, Eagle family? How's it going? Like, he'd always say that, like, every time he would come out to see us, because we were the Echo Eagles, right? He'd always come out going like, "What's going on, Echo family? How's it going? Hey, we're gonna go down range. We're gonna fire live rounds down the range." Like, he'd always like be saying stuff like that. He was a super funny guy.
That's
like,
great.
When people started hearing me do that voice, they'd be like, "Yo, I thought that captain was in here."
In the Sopranos, like.
I don't know. I think he just had a really raspy voice.
Yeah.
But he was super funny.
So you guys touched on it a little bit about when leaving home and meeting a bunch of people. For you, Audette, did you notice a difference between like your high school friends group versus your Army friends group? And I don't want you to like dish or throw people under the bus or
Put 'em on
anything.
blast.
Put them on blast. But who are there's a place for each of those friends. Can you speak to about the friends that you made while in basic training?
So, friends that I met in basic training, obviously I don't know them by their first name. I only know them by their last name. So I would always refer them to their last name, and they always refer to me as my last name, Audette. So, like, it was kind of weird getting used to that, but eventually I just completely learned, like, people just learned talking to people by their last name. And surprisingly, when it came to, like, personality-wise, I kind of gravitated towards the same, like, some of the same, like, personalities that I did in high school. Because, like, obviously they were more mature at that time. It was like a more mature version of my high school friends. Because, like, Oliver, the guy I was talking about earlier, he was like the class clown of the platoon. And one of my friends back in high school, he was the class clown too. Like, everyone knew him as the funny guy, and like always cracking jokes and stuff. And like, I remember one time we were in a classroom. This was when I was still in 4th platoon before I moved to 1st. Oliver was like, the drill sergeant was like saying something about like rubber duckies and stuff. He was like, I want you playing with these rubber duckies, because like rubber duckies are what we like call like fake weapons, like weapons made of like rubber and like plastic and stuff. And Oliver says, "But drill sergeant, I play with rubber duckies in the bathtub." and he completely made the drill sergeant like crack up, like laughing and stuff like that.
That doesn't happen often.
Like, it was completely out of the blue. And like, I had my friend in high school. His name was Jacob. He would always be cracking jokes in class too, making everybody laugh and stuff like that. So, like, and also I had like friends that are like really good with art and stuff like that. And so at basic, there's this guy who actually went to like an illustration school. So, and like, he was super good at art. He was I forgot what his last name was, but he was originally from, I believe, a South American nation. He immigrated to the United States and joined the military. And he was a super cool guy, really good at drawing and stuff like that, really relaxed. And he was super cool and super nice and stuff like that. And like, we would talk about like drawing and stuff like that. Went back when I was in 4th platoon. And then when I moved to 1st platoon, you always have like that friend that, you know, he's kind of hard to get along with sometimes, but like eventually you all laugh at each other at the end. And that was Guillory, the Louisianan. Oh my goodness. Like, he'd kind of be the guy who'd get our entire platoon in trouble, but also like, he was a funny guy at some point. So like, sure, we would have like a hard time getting along sometimes, but you know, like at the end of the day, he was just trying to make us laugh, and we did laugh at it sometimes, you know. And there was this female, her name was Pepper. Pepper was like, she was like actually a really big like motivator for like the entire company, because she was when she was actually doing I think it was practice for the ACFT, I think she actually injured her leg. And you know, usually when you injure your leg at basic training, it's like you're gonna have to stay here longer and stuff, but she actually said, no, I'm gonna keep going and stuff like that. So like even though she was on crutches and stuff, she was actually like pushing herself, trying to keep herself on the same path as everyone else. And she actually made it all the way through training with crutches. Well, like halfway through it with crutches. And even though her knee was still messed up afterwards, because it was her knee, she dislocated her knee actually. It popped back into place like right after. But like, obviously she still had problems with her knee. But she completely passed the ACFT. She was like one of the best people in our company, and she also graduated with us. So that she was like a very big motivator. And you know, like same thing, friend group back in the day, always like people in high school like trying to motivate you to like say, hey, like, you know, try and keep going, you know, and stuff like that. Like, it seems like there's just, you have everybody like from your old, you can either have everybody or like some people of your old previous friend group like still somehow there at basic training. So it's like, it doesn't feel like you're like completely alone, that you don't really have any friends you can connect to. But again, the military is very diverse because like you always have people from different backgrounds and stuff like that. So you never know who you might run into. You
Right.
could run into someone that you don't like, or you can run into someone that you really like. It's just really up to you, and you'll always have friends.